You're all I can think of, every drop I drink up. You're my soda pop, my little soda pop. Cool me down, you're so hot. Pour me up, I won't stop. You're my soda pop, my little soda pop. Woo! Why have I not seen this movie sooner? This song is a bop! My little soda pop. What is up, everybody? Random Random Man here, bringing you my review for K-pop Demon Hunters in one take. Better late than never, as who hasn't heard of this movie by now? It has been out for 2 months, streaming on Netflix, and it's been the talk of the town, the talk of the summer, basically, and I imagine the rest of the whole year, as so many people have been talking about it. And, I have been one of those people that just never got around to seeing it up until now for a few reasons. I mean, one, again, the hype around this movie has been so massive. It's turned into a pop culture phenomenon with songs from it popping up all over music charts. And, people in my life have been talking about it nonstop. I've had little cousins who were singing songs that were playing over one of their birthday parties that happened earlier this summer. In fact, my little cousin, whose birthday it was, she told me when I asked her what she wanted for her birthday, she said anything Huntrix related. And I was like, what's Huntrix? And she was like, from K-pop Demon Hunters. So here, I'll throw up on the screen right now what I made her at work. A 3D printed plate of the girl group from this movie. Ari, or hi Barbie, if you're watching this, I hope you enjoyed your birthday gift. And yeah, that's one thing. Also, kids at work were telling me about this film. For context, I work at a library. So yeah, again, among kids at least, this thing has been blowing up everywhere and has been climbing up the Netflix charts for being among the most watched films of all time on their service. And it's transcended just being a Netflix hit because, again, music has been featured on the radio from the film and all other stuff in merchandising. And even critically, this movie has been getting quite a bit of acclaim. And also one other reason, so a big reason I'm also talking about this, aside from this movie being everywhere and me wanting to give my 2 cents on it, this weekend, for 1 weekend only, there are sing-along screenings in theaters for this movie. And at just about every theater that I could see in my local area are picking this movie up for screenings. And like I said, this is a Netflix movie, so usually they don't do wide releases like this, and they've been selling out. These screenings have been selling out almost everywhere. Additional showtimes and locations are being added, if I remember correctly. And just, yeah, and at first I was thinking I should probably go to one of these so that I can not have an excuse to not talk about this movie or whatever. But then I thought, well, one, they're selling out, as I said, and also I want to watch this thing for the first time, watching it just as a movie, and I'm not going to know the songs at first. So there's that. And last night I watched this thing on Netflix. And for those that don't know, for those that are still living under a rock or are barely coming out from under a rock like I did and having finally watched this thing, K-pop Demon Hunters is an animated musical urban fantasy film that follows a K-pop girl group called Huntrix, and they lead double lives as demon hunters. So they have to go up against a boy band of 5 members that are demons themselves. And yeah, one reason that I was not put off, but I was a little hesitant to watch this movie in the first place is because the concept seemed a little out there for me. It's like, oh, it's this trio of K-pop singers who moonlight as demon hunters, and their songs thrown in the mix. Is it going to be really corny, really cheesy? But then, like I've said, I've heard so much hype about this movie and more talk about the film on a deeper level that got me to end up actually watching this thing. And so with that, the way the movie begins, it gives us, of course, the setup and introducing us to who these 3 members of this girl group are. Their names are Rumi, Mira, and Zoe. So there's also backstory given as to the whole lore of this universe. So for generations, there have been demons hunting after humans, and for the same amount of time, there have been a trio of girls who become singers, and every generation they're further protecting the human world from these demons by leading double lives as these singers. And this specific girl group, Huntrix, they are very close to strengthening the magical barrier between the human world and the demon world so that they can banish the demons from the human world permanently. The lead of the group, Rumi, she's also hiding a secret amidst all this, and it's causing her to lose her voice as well too. And she's trying to hide that from her other members of this girl group. And then this boy K-pop group comes along. The 5 members of this boy band known as the Sasha Boys, and she also takes a liking to one of them, Jin-Hoo, the lead of the group. So, in talking about these characters, Rumi is the lead of this girl group, Huntrix, and she has a big personality. She's also the focal point of the film, and I think her character is really relatable. There's a lot of things that go into the deeper thematic depth of this film that have a lot of people really identify with her and such, and the other members of the group are very lively as well too. Mira, she's the tallest member of the group and she is the main dancer. And then Zoe, the shortest member and also the rapper of the group, she's my favorite because she has a cutesy, really personality that I gravitated towards. Yeah, all 3 of them, all their respective voice actresses and the performers providing their vocals, they are great in terms of their chemistry and just their singing, of course, because you have to get top tier talent to be able to convincingly make me think that, yeah, they could actually be a real K-pop group and all that in between there. And same thing with the other players, like the ones that voice the Sasha Boys themselves. The only recognizable performers from this film that are known names outside of the movie include the likes of Ken Jeong, who plays Huntrix's agent/manager, Daniel Dae Kim as this really, let's just say, unorthodox doctor that the girls see at one point, and then Byung-hun Lee, most recently known for playing the frontman on Squid Game. He plays the main villain of the movie, who's this king of the demons and is a literal massive mouth of fire. So again, the movie is a bit out there in terms of what it's trying to do, but then at the same time, like I said, in the movie setting itself up and just going into the lore and breaking it down within a few minutes, I think within the first 10 minutes, on top of the first fight scene that we see with Huntrix also trying to perform at a concert, and then eventually the Sasha Boys come in and their rival groups, and again, Rumi, the main lead of Huntrix, she's also dealing with her own issues and all this other stuff, and in connection with the lead of the Sasha Boys, there's quite a bit going on. And with all this coming together, I think what really had me see the appeal of this movie, on top of the astonishing animation, which I'll get to, and the music, of course, I think it's because on a thematic level, this is an illustrious identity tale that could be an allegory or a metaphor to allude to many, many different things. Accepting who you are, accepting others for who they are, or just like unlocking your inner self and like not having to apologize for who you are, all that stuff. That is something that's relatable to just about anyone. Of course, kids, like, being at a young, impressionable age, seeing this message within an animated film like this, that is something that is amazing to see. I think that's just awesome with it. It's something that we've seen time and time again before, but something like this, done so uniquely in terms of the style and just the presentation, that is what is part of what has made this film such a cultural phenomenon. And all this coming together, just seeing how the story eventually goes on. The movie wastes little time, aside from giving us quick backstories on some of these characters and the lore and the mythology. It really goes for it. I mean, the movie is quick. The movie is so fast. It runs at just under an hour and a half. Actually, before the end credits, since I watched this on Netflix, I was able to pause it once the credits started rolling. The runtime is 85 minutes, an hour and 25 minutes. So this thing really goes for it. It could also be seen as a double-edged sword because, like I said, we get little development with the characters and the movie just goes so fast and just how it is focused on and flowed. But I think that with a movie like this that was already so tight and just going for whatever it's going for and not having access, I should say, to go into more of what this could really be expressing, I think that's what is a benefit of this movie too. And with the animation here, oh my god, this is a visually vibrant film. There's a lot of colors here, like a lot of colors that are primarily used include the likes of like purple, pink, especially when we see like, areas of the town where Huntrix and Sasha Boys are feuding against. They're getting covered by a certain pockets or like pink areas. They're also representative of the demons. We get to see briefly the demon underworld here, and all the other stuff. The styling reminds me of a mix of anime and also the Spider-Verse movies. And given that Sony Pictures Animation was behind this, it's a little surprised that the movie looks as good as it does. And it's not just the Spider-Verse movies that have inspired this film. I mean, other movies from Sony themselves, like The Mitchells versus the Machines, and even a couple years ago, the animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that I quite enjoyed. All these movies I quite enjoyed. They all have these unique approaches and stylings to their animation where like the frame rate is not consistent, but also does it to where like it's just very catching, very eye-catching, and all of the visual language that we see as well too, and the language that the movie also literally speaks is in that of music sonically. And just let's get into that. The music for this movie, I mean, I clearly showed off what one of my favorite songs from this movie is in the intro, Soda Pop, by the Sasha Boys. That's the most memorable song that they did. And then the Huntrix songs themselves, they did one song called How It's Done that opens the movie, and there's also Golden. Golden, I think, is the signature song of the film because it reached #1 on the Billboard chart, if I'm not mistaken. Free is also a great song that Rumi and Jinhoo, the two lovebirds of the film, they sing in a duet, and that was just a beautiful moment. The sequence visually as well too, I was like, wow. And then also the song that ends the film in the final moments of it, I'm blanking on the name of it, I'll throw it up on the screen, but yeah, that one, it was a great showstopper as well too. All of the music coming together, you can clearly see as a musical it works on that front, and these songs really feel like they could come from actual pop groups or real life artists, and it's really essential and central to the film, and that's why these sing-along screenings are happening, and they're just everywhere. I mean, K-pop, it's a genre of music that I wouldn't necessarily be going to firstly if I wanted to listen to something in my free time. I mean, there's quite a few K-pop stuff that I do enjoy. I think this is just also evocative or representative of how K-pop culture has just really like cemented itself into the West, or going further west from East Asia or that part of the world. I mean, there's K-pop, C-pop, J-pop, whatever. Pop from East Asia. That is something that's really crossed over. And then, of course, this movie takes place in South Korea, and it's showing off some of the culture. It's lovingly making fun of it. I mean, I know K-pop stans are very rabid, and I say that in a loving way because, like, there are armies of fans out there that will stop at nothing to support their favorite groups, and that's what this movie has a bit of a commentary on, and showcasing it with the fan wars between Huntrix and the Sasha Boys, which I think is great. And, like, in the last decade, we've seen a real big crossover with South Korean culture, especially at the turn of the decade. I mean, before this movie, of course, Netflix had Squid Game, which I personally did a spoiler review for the entire series, all 3 seasons, literally the week after K-pop Demon Hunters came out and was slowly building in popularity. While I'm throwing up random pictures here, here's a picture of me in my costume that I did wear a few Halloweens ago, holding my Funko Pop for Player 67, aka Sae-byak. And then before Squid Game, there was a big moment in pop culture entertainment with 2019's Paris. It's backwards. Oh my god. This is what I get for doing this in one take. Here we go. Yeah, Parasite. I have 2 copies, clearly. The one behind the one on the front 4K here is the one from the Criterion Collection that comes with the black and white cut. But as you see here on the front, this was my favorite film of 2019, and it eventually went on to win 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, the first non-English language film to accomplish that. And this is debatably also my favorite movie of the past decade, either that or Mad Max Fury Road. I still can't decide. I adore both of these movies. But yeah, and then, of course, before all that, before Squid Game, before Parasite, K-pop has really been a big thing here. Psy's Gangnam Style. I remember I was in high school. That became the most viewed video on YouTube for a while, and it just like I remember when it only had several million views, and then it really blew up later that fall in 2012. And it's like, yeah, I remember everyone was doing the dance and everything. I mean, that's what a lot of this movie represents, and it's an extension of a loving commentary on, while also parodying it in a in a way that is very self-aware. All this together, and for a simple story, at first, from what you think, and then going into the lore of everything, I think that's just the big thing that also gets people into the film. On top of the animation, on top of the music, on top of everything coming together, and it just really has something that I totally get the appeal of. I totally get it. I ended up clearly loving this movie as well too. I mean, this is easily my favorite animated movie of the year, and this year for animation there hasn't been too much from what I recall, sadly. I mean, I did see Elio and the Bad Guys 2 in theaters. I quite enjoyed both of those movies too, but this I think blows them out of the water, because not just the pop cultural impact, but also what it does on a thematic level, on an animation level, the soaring soundtrack. I mean, everything here. I think this movie is going to have some real staying power. It already has some staying power. Hopefully it goes up and really does become the biggest hit of Netflix's movie library. I mean, Squid Game became the biggest show that they ever did or acquired or whatever, and that was also related to South Korean culture. And would this movie have been a big hit had it come out in theaters, like in wide release initially or anything like that? Well, I don't know. We'll never know necessarily, because Netflix is usually stingy to putting movies in theaters anyway. But what if Sony themselves had released this film? Again, we'll never know necessarily, but clearly with these sing-along screenings happening this weekend and just the hype of this movie still staying strong 2 months out, oh my god, again, this is what I get for doing this in one take. Noise everywhere, whatever. But again, with how big this movie has gotten, I think that it's showing something. It's showing that, there could be a possible future with this IP now and doing more with it. I'd like to see more of this world if there was anything, in the generations before Huntrix even showed up that could be shown off with it, or even more with the story, because the story, I think the writing here just really has so much in it that really stands out apart from other films, even from this year, talking animated, non-animated, whatever. This is now one of my favorite movies of 2025. Again, my favorite animated movie of 2025 thus far. And yeah, there's so much more to talk about with this film. I'm just giving my 2 cents here since I'm already late to the party. But again, better late than never. And yeah, I loved K-pop Demon Hunters. I highly recommend it. With all that being said, there's nothing left to do aside from giving my final verdict for this film. My final verdict for K-pop Demon Hunters is 4.5 out of 5 stars. Thank you all, as always, for watching. Be sure to like this video, comment on what you thought of K-pop Demon Hunters. Social media links in the description. Subscribe to my channel for more, and I'll catch you on the next movie review.